Major. Officers should have wooden coffins, according to regs.
At least a ground sheet. Also according to regs.
Sorry, Major, but this is Stalingrad.
Getting colder. Makes it a bit warmer.
Snow in the air. Fog drifting up from the river. Real pea super. When that snow starts falling and the Volga freezes up solid.
It will snow. And the Volga will freeze up solid.
Then the Ruskies will move all they've got across the ice. Tanks, heavy artillery, the lot. What a hope. The corpses were much lighter in September, weren't they? Dried out by the heat of the steppes. You can pick them up like sticks of wood. Now they're hard, heavy as stones. They're also taking up much more space. You know, Urbas, sometimes I ask myself, the earth here can't take them all. Can't cover up the new bodies every day.
6 by 4 by 4. 96 cubic feet of humanity.
The General is very efficient with the supply of new corpses. Who are you? What do you want?
I'm looking for Private Gnotkin, Private Urbas.
Monsieur is Urbas. I'm Gnotkin.
My name's Gimp, Wilhelm Gimp. I'm transferred to your working party.
I'm transferred to your working party. Where does he get the fancy language from? You were an officer. Before?
No. Last corporal.
I was a sergeant. He was a corporal.
What are things like here? I mean, the job.
Army order. Field punishment battalion. Punishment which will be carried out in the front line will consist of the most arduous and dangerous tasks, such as mine clearing, burying of the dead, the laying of wooden roadways through the swamps, etc., under enemy interference, artillery fire, etc., etc. What did you do? Oi, Gimp. I asked you what you did. Shy, eh? You know, we've all done something at some time or the other. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any field punishment battalion.
I've been on duty for 6 hours. No relief. We had heavy losses. I was just about all in. Suddenly, the commandant came to inspect the outposts. But he talked to me. I kept my hands in my pockets because I was cold. He screamed at me. They said afterwards I just smiled at him. Anyway, that's what the adjutant said at the field court-martial.
Strictly, soldiers are only perfect in peacetime. War is no good to them. No good for discipline. You're a perfect example, Gimp. Wow. On the barrack square, you'd have clicked your heels like a rifle shot in front of your CO. But what did you do in Stalingrad? You just smiled. That is the end. My spot of bother was during the winter campaign last year. A march on Moscow. There was a day when it was so cold, even the trees cracked. My shoes were torn. I only had a thin summer coat. Icicles in my face. I refused to obey an order in front of the lads. For that, I got 10 months field punishment.
What about him?
Something similar he doesn't like to talk about. Well, Urbas has no past and no present. And no future either.
Hey, look. First snowflake.
Traffic jam. Patience a little longer, Venico. At least it's warm in here. Grey, drifting flood of humanity. And above the merciless sky pouring tons of snow down onto them. Most of the motorized infantry got stuck. The lack of juice is a real catastrophe. It's back to the horse age, Venico.
Look good. Some of my artillery have found a way out. They've harnessed their prisoners in front of the guns. Not a very pleasant sight. Moaning men, feet wrapped in rags, their backs bent steeply into the snow. Oh, well, I suppose it's a form of destiny. European destiny.
After all, we have always cemented our road of advance into Asia with the bones of our slaves. Think of Alexander the Great.
My dear Gannon, forgive me correcting you. But in this case, you should call it a road of retreat. Yes, retreat. Tell me, are there any precedents for it?
Precedents for what?
Well, our present situation. Once the Russians had crossed the Volga and were attacking from all sides, a whole army encircled.
Last winter? Cone pocket,
No.
the Valdai pocket?
A small fry compared with us here. No, I mean, well, in the whole history of war.
No, Venico, there are no precedents. Except, of course, for a few cases beleaguered in fortresses.
Well, as we're not equipped to withstand a siege, I suppose the basic principle is to break the encirclement and get out, isn't it?
Of course, out of the trap as quickly as possible. Our commander-in-chief is aware of the dangers of encirclement. In particular, the total impossibility of supplying an army of 330,000 from the air.
Oh, yeah.
Message to that effect has been radioed to the Führer.
Yes, I know. I have endorsed your assessment of the situation.
Right, Brute. Can we join in the retreat?
General.
Read this piece. Venico, the Führer has ordered the opposite. Operation Hedgehog, we're to stay put.
Operation Hedgehog? But such a move needs planning in advance. Ammunition, food, fuel, hospital supplies, fortress guns. We've done nothing of the sort. In fact, we've done the contrary. Our stocks are low, lost in the retreat or blown up by ourselves. But this is utter madness, Gordon. Look at that chaos out there. Of course, on the other hand, the Führer has ordered us to hang on to Stalingrad. Well, it must have had sound reason for it.
Possibly, Venico. Even probably. The relieving armies may be already on the march. Now, the most important thing is to set up a new command post somewhere inside Stalingrad, where we can work quietly and undisturbed. Don't you agree, Blackbird?
Certainly, General.
Hedgehog. On the face of it, you're right, Venico. It is utter madness. After all, High Command must have thought of something when they ordered it.
What is it, Latte?
Dr. Hoot, the staff surgeon, wants to speak to you guys.
I'm not here for anyone.
I said this to Dr. Hoot, but he insisted it was urgent.
All right, show him in. Wilson speaking. Latte, take that down.
Good evening. Colonel, I have to report that the field hospital Ottawa ceased to exist half an hour ago.
I know.
Colonel, you drew a main battle line right across the hospital huts.
It was necessary.
You didn't even give me time to evacuate.
Nobody gave me any time. I had to break through the Russian flank.
The battle surged right across the heavy casualty wards. Those that weren't killed by splinters or falling rafters came under the tracks of your tanks, Colonel.
Doctor, half of my regiment also ceased to exist an hour ago. Such is the price of victory. My men against yours. I think we can call it quits. Now, please go and leave me alone. Doctor, can you hear it cawing?
I beg your pardon, Colonel.
Can you hear it cawing?
I fail to understand you, Colonel.
Of course you can. But what is it, Doctor?
That here, our insignia, the crow, the crow. Don't you agree that we couldn't wear anything else? Crow is the best symbol for us. Black, fat, flapping its wings. The crow sits on the edge of the cauldron we keep on the boil. I think we must get rid of it, Doctor. Get rid of it altogether. But my friend, these are dangerous thoughts crossing your mind. We should have thought of them before. But now it's too late. Too late, my dear staff surgeon. We are at Stalingrad. We have to fight for our lives, to prove what we are. The new rulers, the frontier smashers, the destroyers of peoples, the iron will on caterpillar tracks, the fist made by Krupps. And we believe in only one gospel. We are driving the tanks. The others are underneath us. We think of nothing else but our cylinders in need of decarbonizing, and our air filters which need replacing. But of human beings, of human beings.
1 minute. The Yukon. It's a CNC.
Yes, sir. Well, I wouldn't call it a victory. Yes, we rolled them back. It will give us a moment's respite. But at what cost? I'm honored, sir. Thank you, sir. Doctor, you may congratulate me. I'm a Major General.
Report to Field Marshal von Paulus, Commander-in-Chief of the German 6th Army in Stalingrad. When the Russian counter-offensive began last November, our total strength in this sector was 330,000 men. Today, the 8th of January 1943, we have 190,000 men left, including our wounded. This means that in 7 weeks, we have lost a total of 140,000 men killed through Russian weapons, cold, hunger, and disease. Reichsmarshal Goering's promise to supply us through the Luftwaffe has proved optimistic. We hardly get sufficient aircraft through to our one remaining airfield at Pitomnik to evacuate our many hundreds of wounded every day. In addition, our food stocks and ammunition supplies are desperately low. I would be grateful, therefore, if you would acquaint the Führer with these facts. Signed, etc., etc. Now, send the following message to all units. New rations for the troops valid as from today. 50 grams ship's biscuits, 8 grams emergency rations lunch, 25 grams emergency rations for dinner, 5 grams coffee powder, tea or cocoa for drinking purposes. Have you got that?
Yes, sir.
Ah. Colonel Unschlicht.
What is it?
General, there's a matter that has to be decided urgently.
Yes?
The Russian prisoners.
The prisoners?
Sir.
You mean to tell me they weren't sent back to the rear before we were cut off?
No, sir, there were too many. And now we have no food for them, and we can't spare the men to guard them. Sir, last night they tried to set a sledge on fire. We stopped them only at the last moment. It was intended as a signal for the other side. They were always a burden, and now they're becoming a real danger.
Well, sir.
What can we do, General? I'd even considered leaving them behind the next time we withdraw.
My dear Unschlicht, such an action would land you before the field court-martial. Release the prisoners? Unthinkable. Against every regulation.
I merely said, sir, that we can neither feed nor guard them. Is there any alternative, General? General, it's...
I must beg you once and for all not to bother me with your problems. After all, I have enough other worries. My dear Unschlicht, you've known me long enough. I hate and detest unnecessary hardship.
Yes?
Therefore, I want you to make your own decision.
Yes, sir, but in which way?
You're a chief staff officer. Such decisions come under your jurisdiction.
I don't want to decide this by myself.
My friend, being an officer carries responsibilities, and sometimes these responsibilities are heavy. Believe me, Unschlicht, there are times when I am near to a breakdown myself. Do I burden you with my problems? Now listen. Such a decision ought not to be too difficult. Kindly remember that up until today, more than 140,000 of our men have been killed in the battle for Stalingrad. Apart from which, I think you fought on the Russian front long enough to know the rules of the game. Or haven't you?
Very well, General. I shall give the order that all the prisoners must be...
Please, Unschlicht. Let us forget the whole disagreeable business.
Yes, General.
Just one moment, Unschlicht.
Yes, General.
I feel it is my duty to draw your attention to another, more personal matter.
Please.
Well, I hear the prisoners are poking fun at you.
At me?
Yes.
How?
I don't know how to tell you this. After all, you have enough worries of your own. On the other hand, I feel I must mention it.
Of course, General.
It is because of your playing the recorder, Unschlicht.
Because of my recorder?
Yes.
Well, I admit that I practiced a difficult piece of music during that long artillery barrage. It was a 17th century church hymn. It distracts, calms the nerves. After all, while the Russian heavy guns were firing, we could do nothing but cower in our holes in the snow anyway. I am not conscious of any breach of the regulations.
Well, of course not. That's beside the point. The question is, do you want the men to think that all of us, including the General Staff, are going mad? Now, at the moment, everything depends upon the example that we set. On our own discipline and calm. You do understand that, don't you? All I'm asking you in all friendship is to bridle your musical inclinations.
My musical inclinations? Forgive me, General, but you're mistaken. By nature, I'm tone deaf.
Huh?
Even more, I hate music.
I beg your pardon?
I hate music, General.
For God's sake, why do you play the recorder?
I hope I can explain this. It's to discipline myself, to harden towards my own feelings. Perhaps also to train myself to do things which I really loathe.
Excuse me, General. A message just came through. 23rd Sector reports outposts are firing on Russian party carrying white flag. Any further orders?
The Führer's orders still stand. All truce parties to be fired upon.
Very well, sir.
Oh, just one moment, if I could. Tell our men to hold their fire. Let us hear what they have to say.
German 6th Army, Colonel General Paulus saw his representative and to all the officers and men of the encircled army before Stalingrad. Since the 23rd of November 1942, you have been completely surrounded by the Red Army in an unbreakable ring. All hopes of rescuing your troops have proved unavailing. A fleet of transport planes. We suggest your acceptance of the following terms of surrender. 1. All the surrounded troops with you and your staff at their head to cease resistance.
Look at them. Makes you weep. All that's left of the first-class tank regiment. Good soup? Damn thin soup, eh?
Yes, Colonel. General. Just hot water with exactly 7 peas in it.
Yeah, you are. They always say the condemned man ate a hearty breakfast, huh? Obers, what news of your farm back home? How many pigs has your old man got left?
Just one, sir.
You see, they are not much better off than we are.
Yes, sir. I mean, no, sir.
Obers, poor devil, you look as if you don't need your ration much longer. Come on. Try and eat it. Grub tastes better at the front than the punishment battalion, eh? There you are.
Thank you, sir.
General, when does the relief army come and get us out of here?
Never. We have to stand on our own feet.
Oh.
Ah, Müller, our radio wizard. How many children have you got back home, Müller?
You know it quite well, General. 5.
Lucky you haven't got to share your soup with your family, huh? Oh, Müller, what was that piece of music the Russian radio played last night?
Don't you know it? Rigoletto.
Well, don't you try and jam it again, you idiot. You saw what happened. It drove them absolutely mad. They came back with an artillery barrage. Don't forget, Müller, we have no tanks. We are infantrymen now. And without armor, I don't find shell fire very cozy.
It's all right, though, today. Makes a nice change.
I won't count on it. The ceasefire expires at 1000 hours tomorrow. Are you the new ones?
Sir.
What's your name?
Private Gnotki, sir.
Private? Show me your paper. So that's what happened, Sergeant Knotke.
Yes, sir. That's what happened.
Where were you in action during the last 2 months?
Golubaya Gorge.
And before that?
You've seen it in my playbook. Field Punishment Battalion, Dom Volga sector.
And before?
Near Moscow.
And before? Before your military service?
At home. Little Stepnitz, Pomerania.
I'm sure that was the best part of your life, huh?
Yes, sir. That was the best part.
Now, let's hope you will see it again. Sergeant Knotke.
Sir.
What would you do at this hour if you could do whatever you wanted? Out with it.
If I could say what I was thinking.
You can.
Save my life. Surrender to the Russians.
Why don't you do it?
Because he doesn't want to.
Because he doesn't want to? What's your name?
Private Gimp. He was a corporal, sir. He comes from Staffeln, near the Rhine. He has a mother who thinks that one day he's going back to inherit the farm, sir.
And why doesn't Gimp surrender? Well, Gimp.
Willie, go and eat your soup. Go on. Go on. Well, I don't know the true facts myself, sir. But it may have something to do with what happened to Vyazma. He was in charge of a platoon of prisoners' escorts of Vyazma, and something must have happened to him there. Something much worse than his spell in the Field Punishment Battalion where I first met him. No one can get it out of him. The next time I saw him, sir, was a month later, near the place where my own regiment was finished off. He was hiding in a ditch under a pile of dead and dying. He wanted to stay there, but I pulled him out. I shouted at him to come with me. Ever since that day, I've had to order him what to do. Sometimes I have to push him, sometimes drag him. And I ask myself, what for?
Yes, Claudia. What for?
Arthur?
General.
Yes, Latte?
General, he wanted to inspect the outpost and the new anti-tank ditches. And a fat lot of good there'll be tomorrow against all that Russian armor.
You know, Latte, there is in this particular hell here a soldier by the name of Knotke. He was court-martialed for some reason or other and served in a punishment battalion. I've seen his pay book and measured the distance he's covered before he came here. By rights, he should be dead by now. So that no Russian guns, no mines, no firing squad can harm him anymore. Well, that was also the intention. I know the field punishment regulations. But this Knotke buries corpses, clears mines, comes through artillery barrages, sees his regiment annihilated, and survives. But that is not important. What is important is that he finds under a heap of dead and dying a fellow being by the name of Gimp and looks after him. A helpless creature, but gone on the main. He looks after him. He looks after him because Gimp is even more helpless than he is. Imagine that. That is how he's going to live until his last hour in Stalingrad as a human being. What a triumph, lad. In spite of everything, life is something great.
Your written answer, to be delivered by a representative personally nominated by you, will be awaited tomorrow on the 9th of January 1943 at 1000 hours Moscow time by a Russian plenipotentiary commander in Region B of 5 kilometers. Should you decline? Signed, Voronov, Colonel General of Artillery. Representative Rokossovsky, Lieutenant General commanding the Russian.
Hill 126.
Lost.
Priority CNC.
Priority CNC.
Stick to the field marshal in person.
South of the Kazatsy Hills, the bridges of Topinko and Kraptsova have fallen. CNC, please.
Russian thrust is directed at the vital junction of Karpovka.
44th Infantry Division can't hold out any longer. They're retreating.
Damn. It's the 3rd motorized infantry in the soup. Must get them out before it's too late.
Sunflower here. Stand by, please. Sir.
Field Marshal? German speaking. You've heard the news? Well, I suggest we clean up the penetration of the 44th and hold. Yes, I think so. We better pull out the 3rd and 76th. Thank you, sir.
What are his orders?
Retake Hill 126 and hold. Hold at all costs.
Sunflower here. I'm calling divisional commanders Bolshaya, Blastoska, Babrikin.
My dear Hartmann, I really cannot help you. Pitomnik must be held at all costs. The one remaining landing strip in the pocket, we stand or fall by it. My dear Hartmann, it was your division which arrived first in Stalingrad last September. God knows that puts you under some obligation.
Gunnan, last night a Heinkel 111 landed at Pitomnik airfield. The only one to get through out of 30. What for? A few sacks of dried peas and some bread? Ludicrous. The same night, the same machine left Pitomnik airfield with 3 generals on board. To report at the Fuhrer's headquarters, so their movement order says. You realize now why I don't want to waste the pitiful remains of my division by holding onto the airstrip?
We must evacuate as many of our wounded as possible.
Is that the reason? No. It's to save those who forced us all into this disaster, and I don't want to sacrifice one single man to do that. Next, please, the next general. Oh, yes, there's already one waiting out there, waiting for his turn to come, General Veniko. He fought a desperate battle with the staff surgeon this morning to get his head wound certified for a movement order, to fly away while the airstrip's still ours. But the staff surgeon kept on saying, "You're not badly hurt, General. You only grazed your temple when your bunk collapsed."
Pitomnik must not be given up. That was our irrevocable order. It's not our business to question whether the order makes sense or not. That is beyond our jurisdiction.
Gunnan, I cannot hold Pitomnik unless you send me reinforcements.
They've arrived, haven't they?
Yes, 200 cripples. The scum of the hospitals, Gunnan. Each with 10 cartridges in his pocket. You think as long as a man is held together by his trouser belt, he can fight? Gunnan. There's a question we can no longer evade.
My dear Hartman, it is not our job to answer it. No, really not. The question of surrender must never be allowed to enter our minds.
Those are our orders.
Hartman, we are pawns!
What? We are pawns? We? Villain, have you lost all sense of proportion? And what are our men? Our men whom we slaughter senselessly in this frozen inferno of snow and shellfire. Yes, Gunnan, senselessly. Half the Sixth Army is already dead, fallen, bled to death, frozen to death, starved. We generals don't execute any more battle orders. We carry out death sentences.
General, the Russian tanks are attacking Potomnik. They've overrun the artillery already.
What? Where is Wilson?
West of the airfield. He's been holding superior enemy forces there for the last 2 days.
Are you in contact with him?
Well, then get him at all costs.
Can't you get him?
Here he is. Stand by, Major General. Sunflower here.
Now, Wilson, Russian tanks are attacking Potomnik from the rear.
Impossible. They haven't broken through my sector.
Well, of course not. How else could I speak to you? And a Russian breakthrough there means that our front is cut in two. Now, withdraw to Potomnik and hold it at all costs.
Well, how can I hold on? We have no more food, no more ammunition. And we've been in the thick of it since Christmas.
But you must hold on until Hartman arrives with his infantry. Then, blow up your guns, withdraw into the town.
2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Counting his fingers again.
7, 8, 9, 10.
Short while ago, I saw his eyes.
4,
Bloodshot.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Albert, shut up, will you?
What could be the matter with him?
Just a dreadful headache.
Serves him right. What did he want to eat dirty snow for?
How long is it since Dinglestet's been gone?
Half an hour.
Perhaps he really got through.
3 of the lads tried it before and didn't.
They didn't have a blizzard like this.
But the dead horse is only 100 yards beyond the railway line.
I've studied the layout carefully. It lies exactly between the lines and the crossroads. I've seen it with my own eyes. Completely frosted over, not a bit bloated.
Oh, steak. Oh, steak. I don't think Dinglestet will make it.
Stop being pessimistic.
He won't get through. Ganotki gave him a long look before he went out with him. Believe me, if he looks at anybody who's had it. Today or tomorrow, not a hope. Ganotki senses it, like a vulture.
Well, if Dinglestet doesn't come back, we have some firewood. Here's bunk.
Stop it, or else he'll think it's still Christmas.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Shut
10.
up! Now I could fancy some lobster with salad. Hot lobster. Hey, the old vulture himself. Where's Dinglestet?
Willie, are you asleep?
Yes.
Come on, Willie, take those boots off.
I'm so cold.
Take those boots off, Willie.
Yes, Arthur.
Firewood! And a moment ago it was still a bunk. Marvelous. To light a fire again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I could murder him.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, don't look at him like that, you old vulture. Any idea what's wrong with him? There. You don't know either.
No, I don't know either, Muller. Willie, take those rags off your feet. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Oh, they're already quite blue. Healthy feet are more important than a healthy mind, Willie. At least here.
What shall I do, Arthur?
Hot water.
Hey, let's light the tree again, shall we? Oh, makes you come to life, doesn't it, eh? You know, only 3 things bring me to life. Food, fire, and frontal attacks. By the Russians.
Even the smoke biting into your eyes is a pleasure.
Not so loud. The lice might hear you and wake up.
So what? I'm used to them.
You're lucky. I've got most of them on me. 211 in my shirt alone.
Hey, what's your old woman right about?
A lot of trouble on the farm. Labour from the occupied countries costs 55 marks a head now. And they have to be bribed with butter and eggs and bacon, lazy lousers. And they had to hang one in the woods. He'd started something with one of the girls. 55 marks. But things will be different after we've won the war, mates. There'll be plenty of cheap labour from Russia.
Willie, here, make yourself a poultice.
Thank you, Arthur.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
After the war. Do you know what I'll do? I'll set myself up in the building business in Russia with about 100 people to work for me. We'll have to colonise all this land here, and the thatched cottages will have to go. Oh, be plenty of work then, all right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Now, I used to drive a lorry back home. I could fancy myself as a haulage contractor. From the Volga to the Vistula, that's a fair distance. Yeah, I can see myself already at the wheel of that old 10-tonner.
1, 2, 3,
All I want is a small holding here with real fat black earth. Not like the sandy stuff we have at home.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Hey, stop staring at him like that, you old vulture.
7, 8, 9, 10. Relax, everybody. Enjoy your Christmas dinner. I'll get you out of this mess here.
Come on, go back to your bunk. Hey, what's this here? Red speck as big as a pea. Red specks everywhere, as big as peas.
Typhoid.
Better get him out of here at once.
But where to?
There's no hospital anywhere near. We might try the airfield.
We might get him on a Red Cross plane. We must call a medical order.
There aren't any. We've got to get him out.
We've got to get him out. We've got to get him out. Is that you, Muller? Well, stuff. Not keep. You're all here. Spotted dog. The spotted dog must go. Of course he must.
Come on, then, let's get to the
Don't you touch me! None of you dare touch me! I think I'm daft, but I'm not. Look at yourselves. We'll take you to the hospital plane. You think you can have a little joke with all of us? As if I don't know your hospital. Miller, you and I were together on the Polish campaign, weren't we? I remember the medicine we used on the Poles for typhoid. A bullet! And 6 foot under with a lot of lime on top. Right bullet! Well, who wants to take our boss to hospital? Who wants to take him to the isolation ward? Or bury him in the snow on Christmas Eve?
Are you in great pain, General? I had to remove the bullet. You must be in great pain, but the wound is clean now.
Get on with your job, Doctor. I know we haven't any morphine left. Doctor, Pitomnik has fallen. I couldn't hold it without tanks or artillery.
Yes, General.
Is there someone else here?
Yes, General.
Oh, it's you, Latte. What are you doing here? Where is the division? Latte? Latte, where is my division? Answer me!
General. General, your division is paraded outside the entrance of this dugout. It consists of 14 men.
What is the matter with you? Are you crying? Oh, no need to be ashamed of it. I know you're feeling weak now, so weak that you despise yourself. But later, there's nothing to be proud of if you have an elephant skin. So, cry if you want to. Now, go outside and tell the men that I am coming to see them.
Yes, General.
Doctor?
Yes, General?
We've been ground into our holes in the snow like grit under the tracks of the Russian tanks.
Your wound is dressed now, General.
Thank you, Doctor. Oh, Doctor, this bandage is too low down. I can't see.
I'll lead you outside, General.
Doctor, I said the bandage is too low down. I cannot see.
General, the bandage is not too low down. The bullet severed the optic nerve.
You mean?
Yes. You're blind.
Yes, Fiedmaster. My men are still holding the railway line at Zaritsa. How long, I couldn't tell you in face of the enemy's superior forces. But I've seen other sectors completely disintegrating. Men fleeing in disorder, abandoning everything, raiding and marauding. The field police, yes, they're trying to round up a few stragglers and send them back into battle. In my opinion, there's nothing which can stop the collapse of the entire front within the next few days. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Captain, do you recognize me? Willie, do you recognize me? It's me, Arthur.
Throw your caps away! Throw them into the snow! Throw your caps into the snow! And how they ran! They ran! Oh, God. Oh, no.
Snow. He's still delirious, but the red in his eyes is improving. And the spots are getting fewer. I shall pull him through, General.
Yes, Knotka, I really believe you will pull him through.
May I speak to you, General?
Yes, what is it, Quartermaster?
I warned you what would happen if you withdrew the front line right to my food stores.
Yes, I remember it quite clearly.
A 10-kilo tin of strawberry jam has been stolen. And the NCO did nothing. He just told the men to wipe the red mess from their faces. General, this is outrageous. I take it as a personal insult.
Throw your caps into the snow! It was between Vyazma and Smolensk.
Between Vyazma and Smolensk? What does he mean, Knotka? He means his platoon, sir, when they were guarding the prisoners. Do you remember I told you something must have happened there?
Yes. And
Him?
prisoners.
This is General Wilson.
Yes, General.
Gimp, who had to throw their caps in the snow?
caps.
Willie, who had to throw their caps in the snow?
And how they ran, General. They all ran and wanted to pick them up. And then we were ordered to fire. And then
Who ran?
the Russians.
Which Russians?
The prisoners from Camp 217. We were on the march from Vyazma to Smolensk.
Yes, go on.
When
Go on, Jim.
we had 15,000 when we left Vyazma. And when we arrived in Smolensk, we had only...
How many? Willie, how many arrived in Smolensk?
2,000. 2,000, Arthur. It was Captain Steinmetz who ordered it. Look.
General, this is unheard of. The men have taken the pots of larder reserved for the general's staff.
Ordered it.
2,000 out of 15,000. Leave 13,000 prisoners to be accounted for.
Yes, General.
13,000.
Where were you at that time, sir?
What do you mean?
Where were you when all that happened, between Vyazma and Smolensk?
In the same sector.
I know. You were always up front with your tanks. You only made the prisoners.
Yes, Knut.
And before that, General? And before the war, I mean.
Counter-espionage, I traveled all over the world.
And you've seen quite a lot.
Yes, Knut, I've seen quite a lot.
And in spite of that, you returned to Germany.
Yes, Knut, in spite of that.
And before?
Regular army.
And before that?
Cadet officer. At Verdun.
Oh. So this is your second time?
Yes, Knut. Second time.
And before that? Before the First World War, I mean, sir.
University Tübingen, studying law.
And before that?
At home. Berlin.
There is no way back, General.
No, Gnotke, probably not. After all that.
Arthur!
Willie!
And then we were running out of ammunition. Do it with your rifle butts, Captain Steinmetz ordered. Bash their heads in with your rifle butts. Arthur, the night and the howling of the storm and their screams and the thuds on their heads. God. Arthur, there was something else. Oh, no, not that, not that, no.
What else was there, Gil?
No!
Willie, you hear me? You must tell the General everything.
Willie!
Yes, Arthur.
There was a boy. A small, starved boy with mittens on his hands. God knows how he got mixed up in the column of prisoners. Perhaps he was looking for his father. And afterwards, I saw his mittens lying in the snow.
We've traveled many arrogant miles. armored chariots, we crushed the world. The debris remained behind. The hot ashes, the tears. What did we care? We mowed down life, property, freedom, honor. Forward, forward. Kill, kill, kill. Now or never. Notkin, how many lands have we conquered? And to what end? To kill a child. A small boy. Klotke, our face is disfigured forever. Wilson.
I can't control the men any longer. I found the 2 ducks I was saving for the Field Marshal's dinner. They're chasing them now. If you don't take a hand, General, those ducks are dead ducks.
The Field Marshal is unable to see anybody. That goes even for General Hartmann. Tell Hartmann that I have strict instructions to keep him undisturbed. All right, then. Look, you can see for yourself. Come. The Field Marshal is not here. He's gone to his sleeping quarters. I'm sure Hartmann will appreciate that the Field Marshal must have complete quiet and concentration during the present crisis. Well, what are you waiting for? I think I've expressed myself clearly enough.
General Hartmann insists on this interview.
And I have my orders.
I must return to my unit.
Lieutenant, wait. Of course, Hartmann is a fine general. Did you say he's blind now?
Yes, sir.
Very well, then. Just lead him down here. The generals are quite used to the fact that the Field Marshal listens to their reports in silence.
I don't quite understand you, sir.
Man, you're not that dim. Why do you stare at me like that? Do you think it's easy for me to cheat my old commanding officer like this? Oh, lead him down here. I'll look after him. Come this way, please, sir. The Field Marshal is waiting. It's a low door. 2 steps down.
Field Marshal.
Would you sit here, please, sir?
Thank you, Colonel Unschlicht. Leave us now. Field Marshal, my grave concern for the army has forced me to ask for this interview. Or rather, what is left of that army. 130,000 men of the original 330,000. 130,000 men, Field Marshal, including the sick, the wounded, and the dying, without supplies or food. According to any responsible military assessment, unbattle-worthy. Field Marshal, have you ever seen starving soldiers rummaging among the surgical wards, looking for amputated limbs that still have some flesh on them?
or staff quarters, where commanding officers assemble to sing with feverish eyes, "Oh, what a mighty fortress is our Lord," and then go out and shoot themselves. Field Marshal, the remnants of your army are dissolving. They're in the grip of madness. Why do you still insist that they fight on? Do we still fulfill a strategic value? Tie down enemy forces? To establish a new front line area? Field Marshal, you have an outstanding reputation for the cool, exact, and often pessimistic appraisal of a military situation. You must know as well as I do that we're no longer of any strategic value here. We're completely surrounded, split into several pockets which cannot even communicate with each other. And in a matter of days, we shall be wiped out to the last man. Why then are you still waiting, Field Marshal? Because you have been given an order and learnt to obey? To obey against your better judgment? Field Marshal, years ago at the cadet school, I was your pupil, later your friend. Why haven't you the courage to tell me the truth? What drives you to sacrifice a whole army? Are you afraid to say it? Then I shall say it. You want to set a heroic example for the future. For the Third World War, which shall not fail like the first two. But you are mistaken, Field Marshal. The third time, our people will no longer march with us. Twice, we leaders have set out with vain promises of world conquest and glory. Twice, we led them into disaster. The third time, they will not listen to us. We have lost our claim that we are invincible for all time. You are silent, Field Marshal. But you know as well as I do that you can make only one decision. Your last one. I implore you, save what is left of the army and capitulate. Colonel Unschlicht. Colonel Unschlicht. Yes. See that I am taken back to the front.
Gunning.
Yeah. General Forster.
I must ask you for shelter, Gunning.
You must ask me for shelter. That means?
Yes. It means that. The southern pocket doesn't exist anymore. My division has been annihilated.
Our perimeter has shrunk to 8 miles.
Medical?
Yes.
Bill Sullivan. Am I the third general here without any soldiers to command?
Yes, you are the third. How is the night outside?
Cold and starlit.
Hartman is dead.
Hartman?
He asked to be taken to the railway line near Tsaritsa. A machine gun burst. Soldier's death. A real Prussian.
I suppose Hartman was the last Prussian.
What? The last Prussian?
I don't follow you. Please explain.
It's quite simple, Vinicole. I don't believe there will be another one of us climbing up that railway line. Also, the railway line is not an absolutely foolproof method.
Naturally. Strictly speaking, Hartman's death was only a form of suicide.
Have you any objection to suicide?
What do you mean?
Well, I asked whether you have any objection to suicide.
Yes. In principle. Also, there are a number of religious objections. I am, after all, the son of a pastor.
I see.
Besides, the Field Marshal has advised us verbally against suicide.
Really?
And in case you don't know it yet, Wilshofen, he has even forbidden it.
Forbidden?
Yes.
It's astonishing. Coming from them.
That's too much, my good friend, please.
But, gentlemen, don't you know that there are already battalions of undertakers at work in Berlin, busily decorating the symbolic coffin of the 6th Army? We're already written off, dead and buried.
Must one listen to all this?
Vinicole, don't you understand? To light the funeral pyre, the corpse has to be really dead. Alive, we are no use to them. That's why the generals have to join their dead soldiers in the Führer's personal Valhalla. The railway line, or doing a counterattack, or simply with the muzzle of a revolver in one's mouth. It doesn't matter. As long as we're good and dead.
You see? Suicide. But not for me. To kill myself for this proletarian rabble-rouser? No, thank you. I wouldn't dream of it.
Yes, Colonel, sir. Gentlemen, may I ask you to take your places, please?
Always a bit sweet. Hoarse. Oh. Forgive me, Gannon. A guest must not criticize, even if you serve pig swill. Sunfire here. Yes, sir. One moment. General, the Field Marshal.
Excuse me, gentlemen. Gannon speaking. Yes, my infantry still has some ammunition. Rifle ammunition and mortar bombs. Food? We're all having horseflesh soup tonight. Yes, the command post will be defended to the end. You'll have my word. Good night, Field Marshal.
Well then, the last spoonful of horse soup. Pinnacle, you're quite right. This dish for heroes tastes a bit sickly. But gentlemen, you're all lying. You will never swallow the bitter medicine you prescribed for your men. They had to obey. They had no choice. But you gentlemen, you still got your freedom of action.
Forget yourself. You go too far. What do you mean, forget yourself? Go too far. It's damned impertinence.
Pinnacle, I had a look at your assault troops yesterday. The ones you sent to counterattack at the Potomac airfield.
Oh, you did you? Sharp. I seem to remember you're calling them something like, the Lost Battalion.
Your memory is quite correct.
You seem to have a dislike for counterattacks, my friend.
Yes, I have. An aversion to counterattacks. And I've something against generals who order them while they're lying on their bunks, drinking brandy, dreaming of that magic aircraft which will appear out of the blue to rescue them.
What do you mean?
Well, since we were cut off, you haven't been thinking of anything else but the arrival of that plane.
You dare to say that
I dare to say that your counterattack had only one single reason. To get the airstrip back, where you hope a plane could land.
Must one listen to this
you
man?
on it. On its return flight.
Wilson! I must ask you to stop this. Where is your sense of comradeship?
Sense of comradeship? Oh, Gunnan, you don't need to worry about that. What binds us together can never be undone. Venikol, do you remember my so-called victory at Otovanovka 2 months ago?
No, really. We've had enough of that.
Our largest hospital tent, including all wounded men, had to be flattened by my tanks to clear the field of fire. We are accomplices, Venikol. You at Potomac, I at Otovanovka.
I think it was you that had that case of brandy and finished it.
What is the matter with you? All this talk full of provocations and personal insults. You used to be a man of brilliant gifts, a brilliant tank commander. All these everlasting charges you are now riding against us in a serious situation like ours. Has something happened to you? A sort of mental landslide.
Gunnar, our men had to die. Is it not our task, at least, to draw up a balance sheet of their deaths? You prefer to be silent. What about you, Venikol? You, Foster? No answer. Look at us. 4 German generals trapped in a cellar in Stalingrad. What a sight.
Why are you picking on us as targets to shoot at? Because we're still alive. Come off your horse, man. You're one of us. Alive, like us. And obviously not intending to change that.
Yes, Venikol. But the only difference is that my life has no more value for me. After 30 wasted years wearing this uniform, I can truly say I told you so. Because we haven't done anything about it, none of us. As long as we believed we could win the game, we played it.
We faced considerable difficulties whenever High Command went raving mad. That's how we kept our hands clean. Gentlemen, don't let's deceive ourselves. The strength which emanated from that man, his startling successes, his incredible methods of sheer force. Well, I'm not ashamed to admit it. There were times when I believed in him too.
Yes, Colonel. Führer command, we will follow, into battle. Trampling over human rights, burn, kill, murder, we are with you.
I did not take part in what you describe.
Oh, sure, Venikol, sure. When the day of reckoning comes, none of us has taken part.
All right, Venikol, it must be said, we've been fooled. We cannot wash our hands of what has taken place here in Stalingrad. Then we realized the madness of his refusal to abandon the town. We raised our warning voice, didn't we?
Not loud enough.
Not loud enough. Forgive me, Wilshofen.
You have had the good fortune to be always in the thick of the battle in the front line. But we, behind the lines, you cannot imagine what terrible dilemmas we've had to face. I mean, between soldierly duties and human emotions.
Human emotions. Gunman! 1,000 fires are burning outside. They speak of smoldering bones and burning flesh. Every square yard of this land is covered with the corpses of our soldiers. The last of them are dying, freezing to death in the snow. What for, Gunnan? Tell me, what for?
What does he want me? What does he want me to do? I cannot imagine. I can do nothing. Nothing at all. I do not want to go on. I'm not. I'm a member of the General Staff. I'm a lecturer in history. My subjects are battle analysis and major strategy since Alexander the Great. But I am not an expert in tactics. No, I'm not. I'm certainly not the murderous tactics of this war. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it.
So you're sick of it? Good. Gunnan, why don't you take the consequences? Open the door, get out. You can. You must.
What? What can I? What must I? If I understand you correctly. Capitulate. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
You may remember that I gave my word to the field marshal in your presence.
And that's why the carnage outside is to continue? Gunnan, what memorial will you build to the soldiers of Stalingrad? What inscription will you carve into the stone? From a German general who could only acknowledge mad orders by clicking his heels?
Major General Vilshofen, I must ask you to leave my command post at once.
Yes, Gunnan, I am going. I have been meaning to go for some time. Perhaps I can find what is left of my soldiers. Save what can be saved. Gentlemen, permit me just one more question. Otherwise, our discussion would be completely wasted.
Does he intend to start all over again?
That man is like the rope one needs to hang oneself with.
Gentlemen, how do you visualize our return to Germany? Well, that's my question. How do you visualize it, gentlemen? A big ship has sunk with all hands, but the captain is the sole survivor. He walks through the sunlit streets, past the wives of his drowned men, past their children. He walks calmly into a beer garden, takes off his straw hat, sits down, orders a cigar and a glass of beer. It's a symbol of the surviving captain. Will you introduce it to Germany? Do you really dare? And with that thought, gentlemen, you have to live.
Of Greater Germany can tell you, the Führer is the greatest German in history. Our enemy is armed, but the German soldier has become harder. Above all now towers, like a mighty monumental building, Stalingrad. The battle for Stalingrad. The greatest battle that ever took place.
Notke.
Sir?
Somebody's got to go out into the snow and try to get through to the square of the fallen. Our machine guns have stopped firing. We've got to know what's happening outside.
Yes, sir.
Take somebody with you.
No, sir, I'll go alone, sir. None of these men can carry a rifle anymore. Sir?
Yes, okay.
What's the matter with Gimp, sir? I mean...
Shouldn't worry, Notke. Nothing functions in this part of the front anymore. I shouldn't think the courts martial function either.
Very good, sir. What are my orders?
Reconnoiter the square of the fallen. Yes, what do you want again?
Sir, I...
Go back to sleep, please. Go back to sleep, will you?
I protest, sir. I protest again. I'm not a soldier. I'm a railway official. A railway official. I was the station master in Paris. You understand? Paris. I was transferred here to take over the main station at Stalingrad. The main station. Of course, after we'd occupied the whole town, I haven't even a proper uniform. And no greatcoat in this cold. All the field police gave me was a rifle.
Excuse me, Colonel.
Yes, what is it?
I am an officer of the field court-martial.
Yes?
I'm here to fetch Private Gimp. The matter cannot be postponed any longer. Where is he?
There.
There? You didn't put this man in irons, according to field regulations? A condemned deserter?
No. I didn't put him in irons according to the field regulations. Good God, are you mad? Why don't you look around you here? All the men here are already more dead than alive. Besides, Gimp doesn't belong to my command. He belongs to General Vilshofen. Go and talk to him.
Gimp was caught by the field police and surrendered to the court-martial. The verdict of the commandant was confirmed and has to be carried out at once.
Why, in God's name, can't you leave it to the cold? Or the Russians?
They are forced to make an example. The decline in discipline is appalling. Private Gimp slept for 36 hours while on sentry duty. The president of the court-martial especially selected this case and insists on immediate execution. Get up! Get up! Stop! Get moving! Attention! You, come with me. You and you. Firing party. Hurry up. Rifles and ammunition. Gimp. Gimp.
Sir?
You know who I am?
An officer of the field court-martial.
Yes, Gimp. Your time has come. Justice must take its course. The sentence will now be carried out. Get up. Gimp, did you understand what I said?
Yes, sir.
Ready? In file.
Sir? Sir? I would like to wait till the next issue of bread.
We have no more bread.
Fall in outside.
Hey, Gimp. Oh, wait a moment. Your coat, Gimp. Give me your coat. Thanks, Gimp. Thousand thanks.
Quick, march.
The Russians are overrunning a Hermgina, sir. The square of fallen is in their hands. They're still advancing, thousands of them, sir. Where's Gimp? Hey, you. Do you know where Gimp is? Hey, you! Where's Gimp, the man? Where's Gimp?
Dead.
Dead? Yeah. They shot him. Just now.
Imagine my luck. Before they led him away, he gave me his coat.
By night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee.
Nicole? Did you find Foster?
Yes. What was left of him on the dugout wall. Blew himself up with a hand grenade. I tell myself, why didn't he do it outside in the open? After all, the general should show some consideration for his comrades. All a mystery to me. After all, you heard him say yourself yesterday. Suicide for that proletarian rabble-rouser? Never. I think we shall all be in a madhouse soon.
And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Neither shall they learn war anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's all very well. I'd like to see the Russians first, with the pruning hooks and the plowshares. In the meantime, I do not intend to turn the other cheek if I can help it. Cold. It creeps up your legs, huh? Subscribers at the other end of your line, Weisbach, could hurry up a bit. Don't you think so, Göring? I wonder if they have any fuel for their stove. Right.
General.
Are you in contact with anybody?
No, sir. All lines are dead. Not a single sector of our front answers any longer.
Now is the time for a game of bridge to soothe the nerves. Only we're a fourth missing. You play bridge, girl?
I beg your pardon?
I asked you if you played bridge.
No, I do not play bridge.
Regrettable. Most regrettable. It's damned waiting! Do you know what I hated most in all my years as a soldier?
No.
Why, the waiting. There's always something to wait for, isn't there? Something... My aunt used to lay out patiences in similar situations. How long did it going to go on? Gunning! Russians! Ruski soldier! Ruski soldier! We, 2 German generals, we capitulate.
Excuse me, General. These are 2 Russian prisoners. They work here as cleaners.
Oh, damn! Get out, you loud squawk! Stuff those pigs smoke it. Stinks like hell.
It's called Mahorka.
What? Mahorka? You know, ever since we marched into Russia, I've wanted to know one thing.
What is that?
Does Mahorka contain a stimulant?
As far as I know, it does.
That explains it.
Yes, of course, Bernicole. Otherwise, how would the Russians get from it a feeling of contentment and well-being? I wouldn't swap Mahorka for real tobacco.
What's it like?
What?
Mahorka!
You've never seen it?
No, the plant, I mean.
Oh, the plant. Oh, the plant is small, with the leaves sticking out all round it.
Mm-hmm. Does it bloom?
Naturally, like any other plant.
And the blossoms?
What do you mean? The blossoms?
The blossoms, what are they like?
Oh, the blossoms are red and white. In some very rare cases, yellow. Like saffron.
Do we have anything like it in Germany?
Naturally, they're called lithoraces. They're quite common. Over 20 different kinds can be found there.
Astonishing. Quite astonishing. Tell me, girl, how do you know all this?
It's my hobby. Gardening.
Немецкие офицеры и солдаты, давайте! Сопротивление бесполезно! Немецкие офицеры и солдаты, давайте! Сопротивление бесполезно! Сдавайтесь! Немецкие офицеры и солдаты, сдавайтесь! Сопротивление бесполезно! Сдавайтесь!
There's a Russian tank outside, calling on us to surrender.
Well, Bernicole, there is nothing left for us but to submit to the inevitable.
Micro.
Sir.
Go outside and inform the Russian in command that we are ready and expect to be treated like officers and gentlemen.
Forgive me, General.
What is it, Frankfurt?
I have been a high official in the party.
It's
no need to mention this deplorable fact. Come on, Weitbrot.
Hurry up. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Saba. After you, Bennico. I am the host here.
Colonel. Well, after all, I suppose the Russians are only human.
Saba, you will look after my luggage.
Yes, sir.
Немецкие офицеры и солдаты, сдавайтесь! Сопротивление бесполезно! Сдавайтесь!
General? You're still here, General?
Yes, Knut. I'm waiting for you. One cannot go alone. One cannot go alone one single step.
I'm staying here myself. I've been thinking about it all the time. I must go on living whatever happens, perhaps because he needed me. Now Gimpf doesn't need me anymore.
Suddenly it is so still. As if heaven and earth were wrapped in silence.
After 200 nights of artillery fire.
Knut,
Sir?
You ought to bury Gimpf.
How can we? The earth is frozen solid. It's snowing. That's good. The snow will cover him, General. The snow will cover all this godforsaken mess till spring. General, will it ever be spring again?